whatsoever, where things are obscured. And we're also just a couple days between the worlds. So last week we did fire, and there was a lot of fire. And so today we're going deep into the water. Woo. And so I want to give a shout out to my lady, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's on the other side. Man, I can't help but think she just wanted to go hang out with her family for the last 5 years. But she fucking hung in there to give us a shot at, sanity. So, Ruth Bader, this one's for you. That's a for real thing. That was a person who amplified her energy. There's an old prayer, and it goes something like this. May I give back more than I take. It's one of my favorite prayers. And I don't know the personal details of Ruth, but I'm pretty sure she gave back more than she took. And so, the way we transform the world is in our own house, in our own home, in the little world that we occupy, the orbit we are in. And I think that prayer is a really great key to the idea of transforming the world, is just giving back more than you take within your orbit, within your home, your circle of friends, the world you inhabit. And I think if we all did that, if we all give back more than we took, we'd be in a pretty good spot. And so I'll offer that out to you, that when you think about Ruth this week, you think to yourself, am I giving back more than I take? And can I give back more? I know that's what I'm going to be thinking about this week. And so, yeah, so I offer that. And while we're doing our variety of things here, we're underwater. Woo, woo, woo. So we have our Donald Trump. And I keep thinking about something I'd like to do with him, but at the same time, we already tarred and feathered him, and I accidentally broke his arm off. And, but that picture by Serranos, Piss Christ? Yeah, it seems obvious, right? Like, dunk him in a pool of urine. That it seems kind of obvious, but I'm really tempted. I'm really, really tempted to recreate that photograph with the Donald. And that's what I've been meaning to say for weeks. Can we just go back to calling him the Donald like we did in the 80s? Because it makes him seem a lot less powerful, or a lot less, more what he is. He's the Donald. He's a TV cartoon. So anyways, I'm going to call him the Donald from now on. The Donald. So yeah, so I was thinking about the Piss Christ. And the thing about that photograph, the original Piss Christ, is that it's fucking beautiful. And just as a work of art, it's beautiful. And if you didn't know it was urine, you wouldn't have any kind of aesthetic issue with the photograph. And if you don't know the photograph I'm talking about, go look it up. It's called Piss Christ. And he did a whole series, Madonna and a bunch of other ones, in the artist's urine. And the photographs are fucking stunning. Although if I do remember right, many years ago I tried to find it on the internet, and it's hard to find a good picture of it on the internet. Being a fine artist, unlike myself, where you can just find my crap everywhere, being a fine artist, the Piss Christ is kind of hard to find. But anyways, go Google it and see. It's a beautiful photograph. And yeah, so thinking about it, probably won't do it. But yeah, and we're here with, Marla is here, and we have, this is our sea tiger, which is a fortune-attracting piece of medicine. Oh, and that reminds me, Kenny, bring forward the box of divination.
It's my day off too. Of firefighting, of course.
It's Kenny's day off. He was busy fighting fires all last week.
And also, like, the chances of a fire underwater are impossible.
Right? So we'll pick out a button, but Kenny's taking it easy. So, yeah, he didn't want to put on his fireman drag. Plus, we're underwater. So, yeah, what are you going to do? So, today's button of divination. Kenny, will you read it aloud?
I shop at the anus of capitalism.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I shop at the anus of capitalism.
I think that's a repeat, too.
What?
It's a repeat.
Is that a repeat? We did that one before?
I remember reading that.
Okay, well, the anus of capitalism is the Goodwill Wholesale. And I think I said that to Queen one time, and so she made me a button. So, yeah, this is a fish from the Amazon that I got when I was in the jungle in Iquitos. And a guy came up and said, "Do you want to buy a fish?" And I was like, I don't even know if that's a real fish. Like, I kind of think maybe somebody made it up out of parts. But, yeah, so I bought a fish and I brought it home. It might have been illegal to bring home a fish. One time when we were doing some work out in the middle of nowhere, we picked all of this mugwort-looking plant, and then somebody that was with us was a total plant geek, and they took a sample home and looked it up, and we had picked this like endangered mugwort. We felt terrible, but the place we were at is one of like the only rivers that this particular species of mugwort grows on, and you're not supposed to pick it. But it just looked like sort of like mugwort kind of stuff growing on the banks of this river. But the good news is we didn't over-harvest in old Indian ways. You only take a portion of any plant from any given spot, and you leave a majority of it there. And so we didn't take a ton, so we didn't like over-harvest. But still, that was shocking. Like, we got an email, and our friend was like, "Oh, by the way, remember that mugwort you used on your Vision Quest? That was all an endangered species, and we weren't supposed to pick it." So yeah, that was a thing. I wanted to talk about duck medicine, because we're here underwater, and ducks can go flying through the air, or they can float on the water, or they can dive deep down and stick their bill into the mud and dig out the sea creatures that are tiny and chew on them. So they're really good at going between worlds. So I always pictured ducks as junkie medicine, because junkies live in this like really interesting terrain. They are elevated sometimes, high as fuck, talking to spirits and gods and seeing visions, and then other times they're just trying to deal with like the mundane reality, floating on the surface, being tossed this way and that by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And then sometimes a junkie dives really down in, really, really deep, and their face is down in the mud, and the humanity is really tested. And so I always think of duck medicine as junkie medicine. Now, when I told my friend that, who's really invested in duck medicine as a kind of like honorable thing, or like he has some kind of like ego thing all about ducks, he didn't look real happy. We never actually talked about it, but he didn't seem super happy about the whole idea that duck medicine was junkie medicine. But I just thought I'd put that out to you. That's what I think duck medicine is all about. So, our old friend Rich. So we give Rich a little poppers and invite in our ancestors. And go all out. Oh, look, I've got fire underwater, because I'm a magician. That's what my friend said to me this week, and I was like, okay.
SpongeBob did it.
SpongeBob did it? Did what?
Fire underwater.
Ah! Kenny is Googling behind me. So SpongeBob knows how to... So I'm calling on SpongeBob medicine to light my sweetgrass. I am not surprised. I bet Sandy had something to do with that. But yeah, so we're calling in the ancestors in a big way. You know why? Because we're coming up on the anniversary of Rich's overdose. So it's been 2 years, and I did not realize until today that the day Rich died was equinox. And so he died on the night between the 22nd and the 23rd, which is, as I said, this balancing point. It's the night is 12 hours and the day is 12 hours. So I don't know if I don't think he chose that as a thing, but it was where it landed. He landed right there on that teeter-totter, that halfway point. And so I can't help but think about Rich a lot in these last couple days, last couple years. But in particular, these as the day got closer and closer, I think about it more and more. And yeah, it's a grief. I'm witnessing grief in my own body, and it's a real different thing. I've never had grief like this. Even my father, but you know, my father and I had broken up, hadn't spoken for years, and my mother and I hadn't spoken for like 15 years, and so I didn't have the kind of feeling of loss with them, because in very real ways, I had already let go of them, because that was the nature of their relationship to me, and they both had a hard time with my queerness, and my mom was a narcissist, and my dad, I don't know what the name for him was, probably narcissist, but less so than my mom. But anyway, so yeah, when Rich passed, it was a whole different level of emotion, and so yeah, I wanted to dive deep and imagine being deep in the ocean. So I want to invite us all to take a breath in. And you're not underwater, so you don't have to worry about breathing the water. And breathe out. And feel your body. Feel your physical body. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the air as it continues to go in and out of your lungs. And imagine we're all on the shore, the western shore. And imagine a whale swims up. A great big whale comes up and opens its mouth and invites us inside. And we consider it for a while, and we walk over its tongue, and it slowly closes its mouth, and it slowly backs back into the ocean, and it swims out to a deep part of the ocean, and it dives deep, and it dives deep, and it dives deep, and there we see Caution Squirrel. And remember Caution Squirrel's lesson: guard your nuts. Guard your nuts, people. Caution Squirrel wants you to guard your nuts. And now deep down, deeper down, we are in the ocean. In the deep waves of the ocean, and we go searching through the kelp forest for the elusive octopus. Look, there's an octopus. Oh no! Oh no, I want to be the octopus's friend. Hi, Mr. Octopus. Can I be your... I am becoming one with the octopi. One with the octopi. One with the octopi. One with the octopi. I am with the ocean. 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 I recognize the web of life and the web of all things. I recognize my place and my energy in the world and the way it affects my orbit and the way the energy of my orbit ripples out into the world at large. And I recognize my orbit and my ripples and my waves and my radiant being splashing out toward the horizon, and I am in balance with all things, and I call forward in my own self, centered, grounded peace. I call out in my own self, centered, grounded peace. I call out in my own self, centered, grounded peace. I call out in my own self, centered, grounded peace. I call out in my own self, centered, grounded peace. I call out in my own self, centered, grounded peace. And to all my ancestors, and all those beings who sought to do good work, and all those beings who sought freedom from their own pain, to all those beings who never found a way to amplify, to all those beings stuck in cycles, to all the ancestors, to all of them, I say thank you. I acknowledge your energy and your life and your time here, and I wish you well on your journey. I wish you well on your transformation. Thanks for doing the dance. Thanks for doing the dance. I'm sorry you couldn't stay longer, but I am so grateful you stayed as long as you did. Thanks for doing the dance. Thanks for doing the dance. Thanks for doing the dance. Kenny?